Today's Friday, April, I don't know, 10th or 11th. I don't know which it is. And I'm in St. Petersburg, Russia. I don't really have a destination for right now. Just taking one of those days. Now, it was warm here. We were in like 10 and 15 degrees like 10 days ago. And then we got this polar whatever and got a bunch of snow again. By Sunday, it's supposed to be back up 10 degrees Celsius. And then we're going to hit 15 or so. So this has been a very warm winter, in fact, very enjoyable. And I just decided to get out today. I don't really have a fixed destination. I just sometimes get on a trolley or a bus or in the metro and just get off somewhere and walk around. So I ended up here on Lesnoy Avenue, which is basically like Forest Avenue. There's a university here, a forestry nearby, and I walked to the park. I should have started filming then, but there's this, I don't know, some kind of children's museum over here. I'm not headed there because of that. But it's in this really old house, and I really like the architecture. And I ended up near it, so I'm going to walk over towards it. And then I'm getting kind of hungry. I haven't been out most of this week. I've been working on that hour-long video and a bunch of other things. So I'll probably find some place to eat, probably some minion juice. I've had a couple places, but I found this one place. It's a 4.8. It's marked as a good place for 2025. It's a little bit of a walk, but I think I'll walk over there and just see what happens along the way. So, yeah. The thing I was talking about, I just thought it was really cool. I really like architecture. And it's this old wooden house or something, and now it's like a children's center, not really a museum. They have activities for kids and things like that. Actually, it's a children's museum, center of historical education. Okay, so now Yandex says it's a 28-minute walk to this, this place that has looks like really good food and some minion juice. Never been there, but looks pretty cool. So just gonna enjoy the walk. It is a bit slushy, but you know, it's nice to see the white snowfall. And kind of one last time, although I'm eager for it to get warm again. I appreciate getting out on the bikes. And I didn't get to ski this year, just a lot of work this year, but things are improving. So good idea here. There's a Russian school. Just kind of an average neighborhood. Sometimes you get this unusual architecture. I don't know what this building is. I think it's something to do with power distribution or something. I don't know. It was off. No, it's something to do with the Center of Forestry Rehabilitation. Okay. Walk to this park. There's no crossing here. Let's not stop at that dude. But, you know, prefer not to get any tickets or hassles. I've never been to this park before. I'm sure it's much prettier in the summer, but even with the birch trees, Beruza, and snow, it's still pretty. Pond over here. And did you know that birch trees are unlike other trees? Birch trees, they don't grow like individual trees and plop their seeds down. They're more like grass. So whenever you see birch trees, you see a bunch of them together. They're basically one big freaking tree. The common root system, they just spring up everywhere. Pretty cool. Definitely have to come back here in the summer. I have not been to this park before. It's one of the things I like about Europe in general, especially Russia and Eastern Europe, is they really value city parks in a way that Americans will never understand. I guess the closest I could explain it is people who live in New York City, Central Park. The problem with Central Park is that it's really, you know, anybody can use it, but the elite people all live around it. So it's like if you're in New York, you have to travel to get to it. And yeah, I mean, it can be safe, but it can also be unsafe. We don't have that problem here. Our parks are very safe, and they're everywhere. I mean, even in the district, for example, like 20 years ago, I used to live in what used to be the northern end of part of St. Petersburg, and I mean, literally to the point that from our building, you looked at, it was trees, nothing but trees. And now there's a whole like section of the city out there, another 40,000 people. And back then, I mean, Russia was still in economic collapse, so there were, you know, it was a lot of mud and there wasn't a whole lot going on out there. But now there's parks and, you know, it's a rather nice area. So even in new areas, Russia, and again, Eastern Europe, I give them credit too, it's just more of a, I can't say Slavic thing because there's lots of Slavs, lots of people outside Slavs in Eastern Europe too, but there's that social fabric that has remained after the fall of communism, where shared spaces and parks are considered a vital function. So even in new areas, you'll get nice new parks where people can just walk their kids. I mean, even now there's people walking their kids and their dogs and all kinds of stuff. Warm for a while, so some of the ducks have come back. And they'll weather the winter until it gets warm again on Sunday. Somewhere in this park, there's a statue, playground for like the slightly larger kids, and there's another playground over here for the smaller, even smaller kids. But anyways, still walking through the park. It'll take me a long time to get where I'm going because I keep stopping. Just a little church on my walk. I saw it in a map and it was kind of on my way, so I decided to walk past it. You know, it's not very cold today. It's like 1 degree Celsius, but a little bit of wind, like everywhere. Not even like a super strong wind, but it's also really wet. When it's warm like this, sometimes it gets really wet, very humid, and then you get a little bit of wind and it makes it feel really cold. That's why people here sometimes prefer it to be like -10 instead of -1. But anyways, Sunday it'll be 10 degrees again. A bunch of auto car companies you probably never heard of. Ching, Changging, Uni, Mayor, Belgi, Geely. This probably used to be a, I don't know, it could have been a Ford dealer or a BMW, but after the sanctions, they all switched to Chinese cars really quickly. What's kind of funny is that they're starting to make some pretty good cars. A lot of the taxis here are Chinese. So I've read a lot of them, but some of them still have problems, especially in the cold, which doesn't make sense because China has some very cold areas too. Like this winter, there were reports of people getting in their Chinese cars, I think the Cherries, and stepping on the gas pedal and the snap because it was cold in plastic. Or a couple days ago, one of the Chinese cars, it got too hot, or thought it got too hot, so it rolled the windows down, but it was snowing, so the guy came out and there's snow all over the car. So they're getting there, and some of the Chinese cars are actually pretty decent, but some of them still have issues. There's one Cool Ray. Get a better look. Hold on, there we go. There's some of the cars you can see through. Ganesh Star, I think. Not all the newer buildings are ugly. In fact, a lot of them, even just a little bit of accent, makes the buildings look a lot nicer. There's a construction area here, but you can see ones that are already built. Okay, now you can see it off in distance. See that little stick? A little tiny stick. Now it's getting bigger. That is Lakhta Center. Lakhta, it's cold out. Anyways, that is the tallest skyscraper in all of Europe. That is the headquarters of Gazprom. Lakhta Center. Anyways, they're putting in a planetarium and a big park nearby. Actually, the park was there before. And they're building 2 more of them. And it's actually very cool looking skyscraper to get near it. And the other 2 are going to be very distinctive as well. It's really a cool piece of architecture. And when they wanted to build it, there was a lot of resistance because St. Petersburg doesn't have any skyscrapers. And they didn't want any tall buildings in the city center. So they put it on the very edge of the city. And you can only see it from certain parts of the city. And even then, it's not really obstructive because it's, you know, it's a few miles outside the city. So, newer buildings here, and then you have this one over here. I mean, it's not horrible looking. That's probably from the early 2000s, where they didn't put so much money into the facades. But even a building like that is not bad, and the insides will look quite nice of these. The hallways aren't always perfect, but the home's usually quite nice in these. And of course, we still have the older ones built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 90s, and so forth. I'll try and show some of them sometime. The older one off in the distance. That's probably from the 90s or so. But even then, the insides aren't that bad. The outside might not look fantastic, but the insides are fine. There's an old one. That could be 50s, 60s, I don't know, 70s. Gosh, earlier I walked too far. I almost walked past the place I'm going to again. This Yandex Maps we have, which beats the snot out of Google. I mean, pretty much everything Yandex beats Google. But the maps, I don't know, they have like this ability. I think it's a scale thing. I think it's so they can fit more information in them. But it makes everything look much farther than it is. So you're on the map and you think, oh my gosh, it's so far away. And it's really not. And so, especially in an area that I don't know, I don't know this area very well. I almost walked past the place. But anyways, it's just a place with food and mini juice, and oh, it's right here. So let's check it out. I've never been here. It seemed to have them kind of different places around the city. It seemed to be like 10 or 12 of them. So I'm gonna try it. I was not expecting something fancy, but it's really basic. But the food looks like it's good, and the stuff's inexpensive. So sometimes these little unfancy places are my favorites when I'm supposed to meet somebody and it's a Friday and every other place I normally go is super busy. So this place is definitely not busy, although I bet it gets busy at night. So yeah, it was actually a pretty cool place. It wasn't like a place to be like, hey, let's go to my way to eat here. It's like the kind of place like, hey, it's in my building, I would eat there. It's not my building. I'll definitely go back. They got a lot of pizzas, a lot of shawarma and stuff. But my battery went dead as soon as I got in there. I think because it was cold outside and my battery just discharged really fast in the cold. So I had to charge it back up, and then by then I'd eaten and a friend came and met with somebody, and now I'm home. So that was kind of my day. Not bad.